Hello, and welcome to Challenging Your Health Mindset. This podcast is produced and presented by Liberty University's Student Health Center and Wellness Initiatives Department. Hello, and welcome back. This is Season 5, Episode 1, and I'm so glad to have my good friend Laura here with me. We're going to be talking about the American Red Cross today, and the dimension of wellness is physical, obviously, and won't you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know you well. You're a good friend of mine, but for our listening audience.
Yes. I've been with the Red Cross for almost 13 years now.
Wow.
I've stayed in the same position because I absolutely love what I do.
Yes.
I get the privilege of meeting new people, talking to people, hearing their stories as to why they give blood. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of very passionate blood donors out there.
Yeah.
And that really, it's one of those things that it recharges your batteries.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a lot to the job that I do. And not all of it's great because, I mean, that's the way a job is, right?
Yeah.
But I tell you,
No, I have a really good job, and
Yeah.
I want my boss who listens to the show to recognize
that.
it's really, really good. But no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
There's always those little things, but
Sure.
you know, the rewards at the end of the day are what when you put your head on the pillow, that's what you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
You
I
bet.
am so glad you're here. So in this episode of the Challenging Your Mindset, we'll be leading a discussion talking about the blood donor awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So as our listeners are tuning in today, why don't you talk about your role at the American Red Cross and how our institution or our student body can partner with you as it relates to donor awareness?
Absolutely. So my responsibilities are to find opportunities for blood drives.
Okay.
We do these, we come to you with a blood drive. We found that that's more effective instead of asking people to come to us.
Okay.
So we go to businesses, we go to churches, schools, high schools, colleges, wherever it is that we know that we're going to find blood donors, we go to them. The Liberty University is actually my largest account. It's one of my most favorite accounts, too. I absolutely love coming on campus and talking with the students.
Yeah.
They're so passionate about wanting to give, wanting to participate,
Yeah.
wanting to partner with us. So it's an absolute joy to come on campus.
Well, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. So what is blood donor and why is that important for people to be involved with?
So to become a blood donor is pretty simple. All you have to do is go to redcrossblood.org, find a blood drive that's close to you, sign up, and then show up. Kind of an important part of that.
Yeah, you got to show up.
You got to show up, right?
Yes.
And then we kind of take it from there. You check in with us. You do a short reading, you know, so that you're aware of what this is all about. There are some eligibility questions that's in that reading, and then once you get through that part, we take you back into what's called health histories.
Okay.
At that point, we do a blood pressure check. We do a pulse check. We check your temperature, and we also check your hemoglobin, which is your iron.
Yeah.
And if all that's good and you got a pass, then you get to answer a few more questions on the computer, and then you hop up on the bed and give us blood, which is the best part of it. We try and streamline this as much as possible by putting, we have what's called Rapid Pass.
Okay, what's that?
So you can go online before you come to the blood drive, or actually even if you're sitting there at the blood drive, you can open it on your phone and answer your health history questions there.
Okay, yeah.
That keeps you from having to do it when you're back in health histories.
Sure.
Just streamlines things a little bit more. So we try and make it as simple and pleasant as possible. And then when you're all finished, you can have some cookies.
Ooh. Well, let me ask you this. Let me go back in my mind and help me understand. Because there may be some people out there. Why give blood? Where does it go after you donate it?
It's a really good question. So there's only one way to get blood, and that is from a willing volunteer donor.
Sure.
And there are a lot of people who are transfusion dependent. They require blood. There are emergency situations. It could be car accident. It could be any number of things where someone needs blood.
Yeah.
Cancer patients are our number one user of blood product.
Wow.
So while they're going through treatments, it's amazing what the power that blood has in their recovery. My father-in-law had cancer, and he would go in frequently for blood transfusions. Early on, this allowed him to go play golf, which was his favorite sport, his
Wow.
most favorite thing to do.
It gave him purpose, huh?
It did,
Yeah.
yeah, and it gave him his energy back, so he could, we knew it was terminal, but it extended his life and also improved the quality. So towards the end, it is literally what kept him here long enough to say goodbye to those he loved most.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, who can give blood?
that's another really good question.
Well, that's
I'm
why I'm
enjoying
here.
this interview here for sure. I can't say everybody can give blood, but everybody can try.
Okay.
So people who have maybe some health conditions maybe can't give blood.
Yeah.
If their doctor says don't do it, don't do it.
Right.
Some are on medications that preclude them from being able to give. About every 2 seconds, someone in the United States needs blood, but sadly only about 3% of the population gives blood.
Oh my.
Yeah. At any given time, about 35% of the population is eligible and can give, but not all of them do. So it's incredibly important to have that inventory on the shelf when the person needs it.
Yeah.
So in situations like 9/11, a lot of people came out to give blood because they needed to give back, and that was great. But honestly, the blood that was on the shelf was what saved the lives of those who needed it.
Right.
So I'm not saying don't come out and give blood because of something like that, but just keep in mind that it needs to be there when the tragedy happens and not
Already
after.
there.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So, if I give blood, is it going to hurt me?
No, actually, it's good for you. It's like a little oil change kind of thing is how I tell people. When you come to give blood, we do a mini physical, which
Okay.
I was saying, we do your blood pressure and your
Sure.
iron. So we can actually, you can find out if your blood pressure is too high. We've had situations like that at blood drives where somebody came in to give and their blood pressure was through the roof.
And they probably didn't even know
They
it.
didn't know. And so that prompted them to go to the doctor.
Okay.
And I don't know what happened from there, but of course, we caught that. Things like arrhythmia.
Yeah.
So if your heart's not beating correctly,
Yeah.
and you may not know it, but it can be picked up by the phlebotomist.
Yes.
Maybe you have a what is it, like something going on in your body. Maybe, I don't want to say a disease, but you have an illness that you're not aware of. Sometimes the screening process can catch that. So it's good for you too. I mean, giving blood can actually save your life as well as someone
Right.
else's.
So, how long does it take for, say, my body to recover from the donation? Because obviously my blood is leaving.
Right.
So the body has to replenish that somehow. How
Yep.
long does that take?
So you're deferred for 56 days after you give blood, and
Okay.
that's plenty of time for your body to regenerate the red blood cells that you gave us.
Sure.
I believe it takes the body about 42 days to actually replenish that.
Okay.
But the interesting thing is it's about 500 calories. You burn up about 500 calories regenerating
wow.
that blood. So
But
what-
you can only do that within 56,
Every 56 days, right. It's not a weight loss program.
That's the point I was trying to get.
Right. So, but when you're finished giving blood and you go and you sit in canteen and you have your cookies, just
Yeah.
know it's basically a calorie-free snack. So you don't have to feel guilty.
You're really good at this recruitment piece. So, listen, you mentioned that Liberty is one of your largest accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have any blood drives coming up soon that we could help our listeners prepare for?
Yep. We're on campus every month. We usually are in the Falwell Library. On occasion, you'll find us over in LaHaye.
Okay.
And every once in a blue moon, we'll be in Montview in the terrace level lounge.
Okay.
We have one at the end of January, which, by the way, is Blood Donor Month.
Okay.
But we also have a really large sickle cell awareness blood drive coming up January 1st and 2nd.
February.
February 1st and 2nd. Yep.
Okay. Wow.
February is Black History Month, so it's perfect timing for a blood drive to bring awareness to sickle cell.
So, sickle cell, I know what it is, but just in case our listeners may not have heard or heard the term but don't fully understand what that is, could you share?
Sure.
Uh-huh.
So sickle cell is it is pretty much it affects majority of Black donors. It originated in the largest areas that are affected by it are like Congo, India, Africa, and the it's what happens to the blood cell is it actually sickles, meaning that it creates a crescent shape.
Yeah, kind of like a boomerang look,
Yes.
or yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So normal healthy blood cell is round, it's soft, it's spongy, it's bouncy. When it sickles, it becomes harder. It doesn't transport oxygen as well.
Yeah.
It's very painful because if you think about a sickle, catching on each other, it can create a lot of what they call crises,
Yeah.
meaning that somebody is in extreme pain.
Yeah.
There is no cure for sickle cell. There are treatments, and treatment basically is blood transfusions.
Sure.
I think in rare cases they may do a blood marrow or bone marrow transplant, but I don't know that that is their first line of defense.
Right. Right.
It's usually blood transfusions to get healthy red blood cells into the body to alleviate these crises.
Right.
So
in donating, I can't contract sickle
No.
cell, and it's actually a genetic thing. So
is.
it's a condition that someone has at birth. So it's not something they caught out of the air.
Right.
But they could use the benefit of people donating. Now, do you have to be a person of color
No.
to be a good donor for sickle cell?
No, you don't. But there is a lot of benefits to being, for Black people to donate because there are a lot of other traits in the body. There's probably like 500 traits, different antigens that your blood carries.
Sure.
And the closer we can match by race, by all of these other factors, the better it is for the recipient.
So reception for that person's body is better.
Yep, it reduces reactions. It's just a much better fit. And if you think about it, that makes a lot of sense.
So how important is it for the college age population to be involved in blood donating?
Well, we really like to recruit young blood donors. We want them to start donating and continue donating because they are the future of the blood supply.
Yeah.
And when we get young donors in, it's, we have younger donors, they're healthier, they tend to have less medical issues.
Chronic illnesses, yeah.
They're not on as many medications as, you tend to do as you get older.
Yeah. Or become more seasoned.
Yes, I like that. That's good. I like that. We definitely, and so just keep in mind that it's something that you're giving of yourself too.
Yeah.
So just that whole, thought of, I do this to help others.
Yeah.
As a very good reason to start.
So when I think about Blood Donor Month, which is why we reached out to you guys to come in, what is your aim at Blood Donor Month? What's the purpose of observing this during the month of January?
I think sometimes it takes something like a Blood Donor Month to create that awareness of how important it is. It began in 1969, like December 31st, 1969, and has been sanctioned by every president since then for over 50 plus years.
Wow.
So when you understand that it's important, just like every other month, like Black History Month is important, Sickle Cell Awareness Month, which is in September, that's incredibly important. So Blood Donor Month holds that same importance for awareness.
So as we are wrapping up our time together, first of all, let me say thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Thank you for what you do in our community, and I look forward to continuing to partner with you. I'd like to get with you off air and find out those dates where you're going to be a part of our campus environment and do those blood drives at the library or wherever, because I want to put it on our website so our listeners, followers can have those dates as well.
Great.
If they see it in more places, they're more apt to make it a part of their schedule.
That's true.
But before we wrap up today, I always ask my guests if there's one thing you want our listeners to walk away with because of our time here together today, what would that thing be?
Well, I do believe that it's very important to understand the power of giving blood
Hmm.
and the impact that it makes on other people's lives.
Yeah,
You may not know who this person is, likely you don't,
yeah,
but understand that they're incredibly grateful for your gift
yeah.
because they would not get it any other way than you walking into a blood drive and rolling up your sleeve and giving it.
That's amazing. Listen, if you have any other questions, you can contact the American Red Cross
Hmm.
here locally. You can contact our office, the Student Health Center and Wellness Initiative. You can go to the Health Center. There are a number of places on campus where our listening audience, you could participate. And we want you to make healthy decisions, and we want you to be a blessing to someone else. Thank you for coming, Laura, and I look forward to doing something like this with you again.
Excellent. Thank you so much.